What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Meadow Green Homesteading. We have ourselves a nice, cool, overcast day today, so it's going to be perfect for some mowing. I got some mowing to do. I usually mow this pasture with a 0 turn, but lately it's been so hot, I've been trying to let all this grass come up and go to seed, so it's getting quite long now for the 0 turn, and all this grass is pretty well gone to seed. And as you can see, Gabrielle's been in here trying to clean up our fruit trees, so she's got a couple more to do, and we're going to help her out, get it a little bit cleaned up in here. We're going to be using the brush hog today. Yep, I think that'll do. So I have a couple of branches right over here in our big pasture that I need to clean up because I want to just mow a little bit of this and keep this grass pushed back. This is all going to seed, but I'm going to throw the branches right in this pile. We're going to be burning this fall when, you know, the weather's a little bit better for heat, if you know what I mean. If you've been following our channel this year, you know that I'm letting our pastures go to seed. So whatever grass that we have growing, I've been letting it go to seed. All the thistle and stuff like that, we just go around with the 4-wheeler and we just clip off the seed heads and keep those under control. So far, as you can see by that pasture back there, which was completely full of thistle when we moved in, our plan has worked out really, really well because there is no thistle coming up. I think I saw one when I was just mowing. It's worked out really well. These annual weeds, if you just get rid of their seed heads when they pop up before they go to seed, keeps everything in your pasture nice and suppressed. This pasture right here, I've actually just kind of mentally split this in half. This half over here was all hairy vetch this spring and wheat. So I came through here after that started to go to seed and just clipped that, brush hogged it right down to the ground. And as you can see now, it's mainly like shorter grass with some fescue and crabgrass coming up, but there's a lot of weeds. So I want to come in here and clip this real quick. Just over the hill right here is all Johnson grass and fescue. That stuff is all still going to seed and is really nice. So I'm going to leave that as it is. In these hot summer months, what I'm trying to do is keep as much grass as possible in these pastures. That way the soil is protected as possible. Last year, I made a habit of clipping these pastures about every month and nothing went to seed. It got really weedy, really a lot of like wildflowers and stuff like that, which is great, but I want to have cattle on these pastures. So we want the grass. This year I just let it go to seed and I'm letting the ground, you know, stay covered. Well, we got this pasture mowed. This pasture has always perplexed me just a little bit because over here, I can understand that this grass is really green because it's in the shade from the tree row that used to be here. Then over here, this grass is really short, wheat in the spring, and then it turns into weeds and it never gets, the grass that grows here never gets above 4 to 6 inches tall. And then as we make our way over here, you start to get into this really nice fescue and Johnson grass pasture. And I wish that the whole thing looked like this, but it doesn't, and I'm not sure quite why. I know that the previous owner had planted sunflowers and thistle and, you know, a bunch of other stuff in here, and maybe it's the way that he worked the ground to get those seeds in, but it's always perplexed me just a little bit why the pasture is so different in spots. Well, Gabrielle's just trying to salvage some sunflowers before we cut all these down. So sunflowers have pretty much gone by in the garden. I'm gonna go ahead and cut those down. Yep. She's gonna come over here and she's just picking okra and our cucumbers. Daily basis, gotta pick everything. Cucumbers, okra, and tomatoes right now. Canning the cucumbers into bread and butter pickles. The okra we sell fresh, and then our tomatoes, our San Marzano and the Amish tomatoes, we're just making into tomato paste. All right, so we got the sunflowers all pulled out and the beans all torn down. So there were quite a few beans left on the bean stalks, but they were getting kind of moldy. It's been raining a lot lately, so came through here. We also leveled out both of the beds, threw down some wood chips on both sides, and there are a couple little volunteer basils. We're gonna leave those in there. So now that we have these beds all prepped, Gabrielle's gonna come through with some bone meal and some blood meal. Go ahead and amend that right into the soil, and we're gonna be planting cucumbers.
Well, we got another thunderstorm yesterday afternoon, so I'm up here this morning and I'm going to just add some bone meal and blood meal to this row and get some cucumbers planted. I do have pickling cucumbers that have been doing really well and have been making bread and butter pickles, but I would like to plant some slicing cucumbers just to eat fresh and have on salads, and also to add to our farm stand to sell. I did want to mention that these cucumbers, they're 60 days to harvest. So the reason why I'm able to plant them now in the middle of August is because with our growing season, we will have enough time to harvest them before our first frost. Cucumbers are great to plant in succession crops, meaning like you can plant cucumbers every 2 to 3 weeks during the summer. That way you always have the new fresh plants. Often in the heat of the summer with the humidity, you get powdery mildew and a lot of pest pressure, so it's a great idea to do that. This year I started late because we had peas and beans on our trellising. So I'm going to get these cucumbers in the ground, and I'm probably going to be planting some radishes in front of them. I have some of the royal purple radishes, and the name of these cucumbers is Straight 8. planted so far are the straight 8 cucumbers to climb the trellis, and then in front of them I planted the royal purple radish, but I ran out of radish seeds. So in the other row behind the cucumbers, I'm gonna plant these radish seeds that my husband found. They're pretty unique. They're called dragon's tail radish, and they're grown not for the root, but for the seed pods. And from what I've read, the seed pods have like that peppery taste of a radish, but they're really good in stir fries and salads. So I'm gonna give them a try. I'm excited how they turn out.
So while Gabrielle was at the garden, I actually was down at the house taking care of our black bean harvest from this year. We had a lot of fun growing the black beans, but I'm not so sure, given the amount of work that it is to produce these black beans, or actually to shuck them, I'm not so sure we're going to do these again. It took up a lot of room in the garden, and we got about 5 pints of black beans, which we'll use. It's great. It was a fun experience, but the amount of time it took to shuck all these things, I just don't think it's worth it for us. So the way that we prepared these beans for canning was actually the same way that we've seen people prepare wheat once it's harvested, and that is to dump it from one container into another through an airstream provided by a fan or something like that, and it blows all the small particulates, the bugs, and all the little pieces of husk and everything right out of the beans, and it works slick. I think we repeated that process maybe 2 or 3 times per bowl that we had. Once we had that done, I used a little mason jar vacuum sealer that we bought on Amazon, and I can drop the link down below for you if you're looking for something like this. It worked slick. So this little thing, you just put it right on top of the mason jar with your lid, you push it down just a little bit, hit the button, and then you give it about 30 seconds of vacuuming, and then you have a vacuum sealed dry good. But now that we have the cucumbers and the radishes in the ground and our beans are all vacuum sealed and in storage, we're done for the day, and that's going to be a wrap on today's video. As always, guys, if you liked the video, please hit the like button. It helps us out a lot. If you have any questions, drop them down below in the comments. And if you want to watch our homestead grow, please hit the subscribe button. And until next time, we hope you have a great day. Follow the leader. I don't know what you guys think you're getting. Or what you think you're getting. You guys always want something, don't you? You got treats today. I know she brought you some tomatoes and other stuff. Oh, God, you guys are a bunch of pigs. What about you, Daco? You got any last words for the audience? Yeah, I guess not. You're a man of a few words.